Welcome guys to Core of the Character, where we dive into complex anime characters, and in today's video we're starting with none other than Suzaku Kururugi from Code Geass, a character who embodies the fine line between idealism and hypocrisy. Suzaku is a character we love to debate about. On the surface, he is the embodiment of honor, justice, and peace. He's committed to creating a better world, even if it means taking the hardest part. But here is the catch: Suzaku is also one of the most contradictory characters in Code Geass. He detests violence, yet is willing to fight in wars. He preaches about justice, but often takes action that seems contradictory to his own belief. In this series, we're going to explore whether Suzaku's hypocrisy is a flaw or a strength. Is he a tragic hero caught in his own ideals, or is he a symbol of the complexity of human nature? As we unravel this journey, I promise you will see a side to him that might change how you view his character forever. So let's dive in and uncover the layers of Suzaku as a character. Now that we've introduced Suzaku and the concept of his hypocrisy, let's explore some key moments from Code Geass that really highlight this duality. First, let's start with the beginning of the series, when Suzaku decides to become a knight of the Britannia Empire. He firmly believes in serving justice from within the system, yet this decision puts him at odds with his own people, the Japanese, essentially compromising his ideals for the sake of peace. Secondly, we have the Battle of Narita, where Suzaku uses the Lancelot, a powerful weapon, to fight against the Black Knight. Here he preaches non-violence and justice, yet he engages in highly destructive battle, contradicting his own principle. And this is something that I really observed when watching Code Geass, because going in the series, I saw Suzaku as a very naive character, or probably a very hypocritical character. And why? Because, like I said, this is the same person that believes himself to be a pacifist, but here he is using the Lancelot to destroy and decimate the Black Knight. Now, I'm not saying that that is entirely a bad thing, but I'm just saying that this was like my original impression of Suzaku going into Code Geass as a series. Also, we can highlight the time when Suzaku became the Knight of Seven. He's striving to protect the world through the Britannia military, but this often puts him in direct conflict with his own ethic and people he wants to protect. And finally, the fourth example can be in the series climax, where he faces off against Lelouch. His desire for justice and peace ultimately led him to make a choice that is morally complex and contradictory. Each of these moments shows how Suzaku's ideals sometimes clashes with his action, painting a complex portrayal of a character caught between two worlds. Now let's really dig into the art of Suzaku as a character, because if we're going to talk about hypocrisy, we can't stop at just pointing out the contradictions. We have to understand why they exist, and to do that we need to talk about guilt, trauma, and the impossible standard Suzaku set for himself. Essentially, Suzaku was setting himself up for failure. Let's start with the core of his guilt, the death of his father. Suzaku killed his own father when he was just a child. That single act haunts him throughout the entire series. It shapes everything about his worldview. He believed that by removing his father, he could end the war and bring peace. But all that brought him was shame, and he sensed that peace achieved through violence is hollow peace. That moment broke him. And from that point on, he developed a belief system that said, I must never again take the easy way out, even if it means walking through hell. That belief led him to his rigid moral code. Suzaku wants to atone for what he had done and tries to do it by living the rest of his life as a model of justice. He refuses to rebel even when the system he serves is corrupt. He insists on following the rules even when the rules hurt people. In his mind, if he suffers and sacrifices, it somehow balances out the wrong he did as a child. But the world of Code Geass doesn't work that way. And Suzaku, stuck in this black and white mindset, keeps getting pulled into situations where his ideals are crushed by reality. And that's where the hypocrisy really takes root. Suzaku is trying to live in a world that doesn't match the one in his head. He wants to be a hero within the system, but the system is built on oppression and control. He wants to protect the innocent, but he's doing it with a weapon in his hand. And every time he makes a compromise to preserve his ideals, he ends up betraying them. But here is what's so powerful about Suzaku. He knows it. He is not naive. He's painfully aware of the contradictions in his action. That self-awareness makes him a tragic figure, not an hypocrite. He doesn't hide from his guilt, he wields it. He uses it as a fuel to keep going forward, even when he hates himself for what he has become. This tension between the man he wants to be and the man he feels forced to be is not just a fault to Lelouch, is a mirror. Lelouch embraces rebellion to create change, while Suzaku tries to bend the world to fit his ideals without breaking it. And in that effort, he ends up breaking himself. So yes, Suzaku is an hypocrite, but he's a human hypocrite. One who has been shaped by trauma, driven by guilt, and trapped in a world that doesn't reward righteousness. And understanding that inner turmoil is the key to understanding why his story matters. So now that we have broken down the moment of hypocrisy and explored the inner turmoil that drives Suzaku, it's time to step back and ask ourselves this question: what does all this mean? What does Suzaku contradiction say about him and about the world of Code Geass as a whole? Let's start with Suzaku himself. Over the course of the series, he goes from an idealistic boy who believes in justice to a man who is willing to get his hands dirty, because he finally understands that a clean world can be built with clean hands. And that transformation doesn't come easy. It's slow, painful, reluctant, and it's never complete. Suzaku truly never lets go of his ideals. He just learns to bury them deep enough to survive. By the time he agrees to become Lelouch's sword in the Zero Requiem, he no longer fights for his personal sense of justice. He accepts a role that demands silence, sacrifice, and deception. He wears the marks of Zero, taking in the burden of being a false hero so that the world can have peace. It's the ultimate contradiction and the ultimate irony. The boy who once clung so tightly to doing what's right became the man who does what's necessary. And in that moment, Suzaku isn't just an hypocrite anymore. It's something more tragic. He is the price of peace. But the story doesn't condemn him for it. In fact, Code Geass rewards that sacrifice. The world moves on. Peace is restored. People look up to Zero, not knowing who is really behind the marks. Suzaku becomes invincible, a symbol of justice built on lies, and that's what makes his story so powerful. Because it's not just about ideals, it's about what you're willing to give up for the sake of something bigger than yourself. And that brings us to the world of Code Geass. It's not a universe where good intentions are enough. It's a world where moral clarity is a luxury few can afford. Every major character like Lelouch, Sisi, Schneisel, and even Euphemia has to wrestle with the gap between their ideals and the reality they live in. Suzaku is just the most visible casualty of the war between what is right and what is real. His hypocrisy isn't a flaw, it's a symptom, a reflection of a world that punishes purity and rewards compromise. And in that sense, Suzaku might be the most honest character of them all. Because even though he stumbles, even though he contradicts himself, he keeps on going. He keeps trying. He doesn't abandon his goal of peace. He just realizes that the path to it is messier than he ever imagined. Now here's the question I want to leave you with. After everything that you've seen, do you think Suzaku was right? Was it right to follow the system, to believe in structure, to atone through service instead of revolution? Or was it wrong to compromise, to sacrifice his soul for the sake of the world? Because that's what makes Suzaku such a brilliant, frustrating, and unforgettable character. He forces us to confront the fact that doing the right thing isn't always clean. That sometimes peace is built on pain, and that even the most hypocritical choices come from a place of love, guilt, and hope. So before you dismiss him as an hypocrite, look a little deeper. He's not perfect, but maybe in a world like Code Geass, that's exactly why it matters. So if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope this deep dive into Suzaku's hypocrisy gives you a new way of looking at his character and even change your opinion on him a little bit. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also click the notification bell so you're always notified anytime I upload a video and you're always kept up to date with the things happening in my channel. We are currently on the road to our first 100 subscribers, and every single one counts. So if you want more content like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching. and I will see you guys later.